What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the Wise Take MLB Wise stream. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. Joined by the GOAT, the true OG, Paulie D. As usual. Paulie, what's happening?
What up, baby?
Definitely not MLB contests. It's the first day of NFL, which is super exciting, and I'll take the NFL being back over anything. One of our favorite sports to play, and not just like in DFS, but watching everything, right? Season long, everything is exciting when football's around. But holy shit, football's literally around for one day, and it's one game, and the baseball contests are on their knees, if you please. They're good enough to where I'm playing, right? Like I'm playing, but they're like, you know, if your thing is upside, today is not the day for you. But maybe I look at it like this is a good opportunity just to get your bankroll up, right? Like the contests are big enough to where if you took first place, you'd be pretty comfortable riding with a bankroll like that going into football season. Holla.
For $1.
Need that money for tomorrow. Anyway, Paulie, we're going to go ahead and get into it. We have one game that is a little bit of a trouble spot weather-wise is the New York Yankee game, Baltimore Yankees in New York. I know MG in the Slack chat was saying that it's raining over by Westchester. We'll have to see what happens. DFS meteorologist Kevin Roth did not seem too optimistic about this game. He says there's a lot of storms and showers upstream. He says it's not impossible they play, but he seemed to think it's unlikely. That's kind of a big deal because the Yankees offense in a really good spot at home. Garrett Cole is pitching, who's the best actual pitcher on the slate. So a lot to discuss considering it's a small little 6-game sleazy. And if we hear anything about the weather, we'll let you know, but it sounds like we're going to have to kind of guess because I don't see any other information coming out and the game is in less than an hour. So we'll have to kind of, navigate blindly through the landmines, if you will. Paulie, talk to me about pitching.
Yeah. Today, the plays. I mean, obviously, I'd love to be pitching Garrett Cole. Even if he gave up some runs, he was going to strike out a ton of dudes. And, I think if you're in some cheap donkey-type MME situations, maybe you still roll them out and they do play and you get them at 1% and do the dirt that way. Meteorologists can be wrong. Usually it's the other way. He tells you to play and then the game gets canceled. But it's an option. But I don't know. This is an ugly slate for pitching. Weather in Chicago, wind-wise?
Wind blowing in at about 14 miles an hour.
So Sonny Gray's had 10 days off. He's got an extreme pitching-friendly umpire, very pitching-friendly environment, a team that does strike out, but, he was showing some bad signs, hence the 10-day, rest situation. I'm nervous about it, but there's a lot of positive signs there. I don't mind the idea of using him. Dustin May, no thanks. Chris Paddock, because you're forced to choose some guys. I'm all right with him as well, but I honestly don't like it. I kind of like some of the giant bats. I think I'm willing to give the kid Josh Fleming a shot down low because if he only gets you a couple points, it doesn't hurt as bad. Albert Alzolay in that same decent condition game as Sonny Gray. There's just not much today. I guess I may have to reconsider Dustin May at this point. It doesn't bother me. He just doesn't really impress me. I don't like spending that kind of money on a guy. Against a team that I do respect the bats. He does have the number one pitching umpire in baseball today, so that's a plus. No way am I using Sandy Alcantara against Philly. Don't really think I like Arrieta, but we may have to come around on that some. Who's pitching? Oh, Mad Bum for Arizona. No way. So Paddock, May, maybe some Sonny Gray, and Fleming, and Alzolay for me.
Yeah, on a small slate, you get the feeling that the chalk is just not going to work, right? Sonny Gray and Chris Paddock are expected to be extremely popular. I'm holding out hope that the game in New York may actually get play, even if it goes 5 or 6 innings. They'll count that as an official game, and Cole could end up raw point. If that's the case, Cole could be the highest raw point scorer. But we're running out of time for these
You
guys
could
to make
get a,
up games. You know what I mean? Oh yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Okay. But
no, they do. Like if the game goes to 7, they've awarded the pitchers the complete game
no
points.
shit, that's wild. Well,
Yeah,
that's good to know because
yeah.
I plan on taking shots on him anyway. I'm only doing 20 teams today, so I'm willing to burn a few teams for a guy with that kind of upside. And the same goes for the bats. We'll talk about that. But Sonny Gray and Paddock are just going to be so popular, and I'm going to have them, but I want to make sure I have the opposites as well. So I'm going to have Gray, but I'm going to have some Cub stacks because it's going to be so low owned. The ownership is so concentrated. You're going to get the Cubs at a crazy low ownership. A good offense. So they strike out a lot. Sure, wind's blowing in. That sucks, as well. But, you mentioned Sonny Gray, and it is weird. He's had some velocity inconsistencies over his last like 3 starts, right? Like it dropped down all the way to 92. He got rocked against the Cardinals, and against the Cardinals, that game, what was it, 12-2 or some shit like that? Like it really erupted. So I think if the Cubs situation were to work out, it could bring you some upside. So it makes me, yeah, I'll have Sonny Gray because, like you said, really good umpire. Cubs strike out a lot. Wind's blowing in. I'll probably have more Sonny Gray than I will of any other pitcher. But in the teams I don't have him, I'm going to make sure I have some stacks. And it's the same thing for Paddock, bro. Paddock has not been impressive at all. He's not taking a step forward. The Giants are 6th in WRC plus this year against righties. It is not a team I really want to mess with unless the pitcher is absolutely, I think is actually really good. I don't think Paddock is a bad pitcher, but I don't think he's just not taking that next step in his second year. He's struggling with lefties, believe it or not, even though he's a big changeup guy. He's still throwing fastballs like 60% of the time. And he's playing a Giant team that have 4 pretty good lefties, and Dickerson, Yastrzemski, Crawford, and good enough anyway. And of course Brandon Belt, who's actually good, along with Yastrzemski. But so yeah, I'm iffy. I'll have these guys. I wrote them in the article because there's just a lot. That's my problem. It's easy to say I don't want to play these guys. It was hard to figure out who the fuck you're playing instead. I actually I have Alcantara on my list. He's only had one bad game against Philly over the last, like going back the last couple seasons. He's one bad game. I don't like it. I really don't. Philly's a team I really don't like to attack pitchers with. I missed out a lot on DeGrom against them. That's how much I don't like taking pitchers against them. They just don't strike out. Near the bottom of the league, they got good players. But like you said, unless you're going with the chalk options, I'm a little nervous, man. Dustin May really doesn't get a ton of strikeouts. He struggles against lefties. The D-backs are at a crazy left-handed heavy lineup. Roof's open. Everywhere you look, it's just shit. This Cubs pitcher has been on somewhat of a pitch limit. Fleming hasn't thrown more than 75 pitches. There's just not a lot of places to turn. So it's easy for me to say, hey, yeah, I want to find a way to attack, to not have to use Gray and Paddock so much. It's just harder for me to, fill in with a replacement. That's kind of been my issue. So I'm going to have Paddock. I'm going to have Gray in a good amount of teams. Assuming it's, everything else I like goes well. But I'm going to make sure specifically to have Giant stacks and Cub stacks because I know the ownership is so high. It's just worth. I'll burn a few teams chasing it. I don't give a fuck. It's worth it to have on a situation on a slate like this, especially when the contests are small. Because it don't take much to get first. It's not going to take as much for some of you guys who are playing in smaller contests. Like even the 20 entry max, the $4 normally got like 19,000 people, some shit like that, 14,000 people. It's got like, it's only 1,000 up top, but it's only like 20 something hundred people, 2,000 something people in it. So it's like, I feel good about taking some shots today and, going light because we got some football action. I'll be doing some showdown action for sure. Hopefully you guys checked out the showdown show Paulie and I did. Shy Beasley's got his article up. He showdown specialist, if you will. He's done pretty good for in the showdowns for us last year. That's up at the site. But anyway, as far as pitching goes, I just don't like any of it. The Rays guy I think is an option for sure, but he's trending to be pretty popular. He's looking like the 3rd most popular option at this point for the people that want to fade either Gray or Paddock. Everybody's kind of going towards him, so it makes me kind of like the Red Sox. I don't fucking know. All I know is I want to do something to get different. Yeah, get different. Paulie, talk to me about bats.
I think you play some Giant bats and get the leverage on teams you don't use Paddock. They're going to be low owned. they've been awesome, like you said, 6th in WRC plus. You got Stremps, you got Dickerson, Brandon Belt, Longoria deep in that lineup, Crawford, who's been hitting, Joey Bart, who's a big time hitting prospect, and I think you get the most leverage there. The park's been very, very high scoring of late. I don't know if it's because of the temperature, the slight wind that's been going out, but the ball's been carrying and runs have been scored in this park of late. So I'm with you, man. I'll do some giant bats. I was really into the Yanks bats. I may still roll one of those stacks out there. They got smoked by this guy Aiken last week. I think they do the smoking this time. And then the Dodgers, Madison Bumgarner's been allowing like 2+ home runs per start, not going deep, getting into the bullpen. Roof's open. I think the Dodgers put up a whole bunch of run skis on Mad Bum tonight. And I like the Tampa Bay bats against Boston. All that stuff. Hunter Renfroe, Mike Browsow, do some lefties, do some righties. There's Manny Margot leading off. I like that a lot. Arozarena, been doing the dirts of late. I do have some interest there. And then I guess, a Cub stack would probably make some sense too. You might not need 10 runs today to win a slate. Like the highest scoring team may score like 6 on this 6-game slate. And it doesn't always have to be with the home run. It could be, hard hit doubles down the line with guys on base and all that good stuff. So I don't mind the offenses in Wrigley today. Cincinnati as well. 2 high-powered offenses at low ownership. That smells like a good idea to me. But mostly Dodgers, Tampa Bay, and San Fran. Those are like my top 3 at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Dodgers. They seem like the best stack of the night. If you take ownership, take price, take everything out of the equation, they're one of the best offenses. And really it's about Mad Bum, right? His velocity's been down like almost 3 miles an hour this whole season. Even in his last start, it was up 1 mile per hour, but it was still down 2 from last year, and it just looks like shit. So I'm with you. I think the Dodgers make a lot of sense. D-backs bullpen has not been good. Roof is open. All good. I do like the Giants as well. I play the Giants almost every day. I mean, you could attest to that. I play the Giants almost pretty much every day, and I just go heavier when it's against the lefty. But I'll have some, and I think we're going to get some leverage here against Paddock. We talked about that. I think that the other shit. I also think that as we talked about the Cubs. Not that I'm going to make the Cubs my centerpiece offense or anything, but I'm into the leverage today. The pitching options suck. The pitching options around these 2 guys are so bad that I think it's really worth a little bit more today to be a little bit different. Maybe one of them does well, but either way, I want to make sure I'm attacking at least one of these dudes because I feel like one of them is going to suck the fat one, if you will. But yeah, you want to get different. The Dodgers are not a way to get different, but if you have the Dodgers with different pitching, that could be a way to get different. Yeah, get different. So a lot of options, a lot of curiosities.
Not a lot of options.
No, not a lot of options. Well, actually, what I actually meant is no. That is what I just said it wrong. Yeah, you're right. Another one of those things, man, where the mind's thinking about what I'm going to say next and the mouth starts moving already. You know what I'm saying? The mouth is going and the mind is spinning, But yeah, I don't know. On a small slate, I definitely think that there's leverage that's worth a little bit more than usual because it's so shitty. It's easy to pivot when there's good teams, when there's not a lot of good teams. What about the Padres? You have any interest in the Padres? I'm just worried about ownership with them.
I don't have any interest in the Padres, and I'm debating whether to give Cahill a shot here. Probably not. I'd probably just stay away. And my question to you is, if you had to choose either the Miami Bats or using Jake Arrieta, go.
Fuck. I guess I'd say Arrieta.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. I think so. It's a terrible thing, but I think I would use Arrieta over the options you gave me, the terrible options you gave me. at this point, we'll do some home runs. If there's any questions in the chat, get them with the questions. Home runs, Paulie?
Let me see. Hunter Renfroe.
That's one of the guys I wrote it for the Dong Watch in the article. I like that. I'll go with another guy I wrote up in the article for the Dong Watch, Brandon Belt.
Give the whole article away. Give me Josh Van Meter's on the Diamondbacks. I missed that.
He's not even in the player pool. He's a bitch.
Give me David Peralta.
David Peralta, he's a straight baller. I want to give a Yankee so bad, but I'm not going to do it because they may not play. So I don't want to be that guy. Do that thing.
You are that guy.
I am that guy. You're right. Fuck it. So I will do it. Glaber to no, I'm just kidding. I'll go with let's go with Kike. Sounds kind of safe against a lefty. Go with Kike. He had a home run yesterday. Let's do it again. Do it again. See if there's any questions. A whole lot of comments. The nation is strong today. What team is going to score 10 plus runs tonight?
The Giants.
Oh, I like that one. You know, to your point, like I know I talked up Alcantara, and I'm going to play Alcantara a pretty hefty amount, but to your point, this is the same Miami team that just got blasted for 29 runs last night against, I know it wasn't Alcantara, but if Philly is able to do thy dirty to Alcantara, or at least get his pitch count up even, Miami's bullpen's been fucking god-awful. It's been bad. Drizzling shits. No salt, no pepper, pure shits. Bad. Tony A says, it's raining by my house now. I'm 15 minutes from Wrigley. Appreciate the heads up, Tony. Chris Cox, Dodgers stack them up. Yes. We got a little ECW love for this one. Jeffrey Lanier says, I just figured out who Paulie reminds me of. Paulie reminds me of Sandman from ECW, smoking, drinking, and giving out great content. And the means, and I have the pleasure of being Paul E. Dangerously, aka Paul Heyman, who's a balding fat guy and has been pretty much for his entire, tenure of being on TV. So much appreciated, Jeff, for the analogy. I think you made out pretty good. Sandman was a cool dude, so I think you made out pretty good on that one. I got the shit under the stick.
I want to find out.
So you don't know who the Sandman is?
No, never heard of him.
Oh. Well, he liked to blow a lot of people. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Now we're talking.
Sandman was like one of the coolest wrestling characters ever. It was like an ECW where it was like, but he would, he came out always drinking beers, always came out smoking. He smoked cigarettes in the ring and shit. He was just doing dirty, hitting dudes with sticks. He was one of them hardcore, just blow bliggity type shit. So I'd say that as a compliment. He was a cool ass dude, man. Paulie Dangerously, everybody always hated that guy, so that sucks. But Chris Cox says, yeah. Chris Cox says, Paulie, you look really into the slate tonight. I'm
not.
Yeah, I'm not into it either. Tony A says he tweeted Kevin Roth, and Roth told him that as a little heads up, there is some risk in Chicago. So that is good to know, especially considering we have less than 20 minutes to make our final decisions. Holla for $1. Paulie,
what about Yankees?
I'm gonna play some. I'm gonna play like 20% Cole, and I'm gonna play like 5 to 10% Yankee stacks, and just call it a day. If it works, they should be so long that if it works, that should be all they have to do to at least have something decent. And in the smaller contests, I mean. If it doesn't work, then fuck, I just burned, good amount of teams chasing that shit. But anything in closing before we get up out of here?
Nope.
Okay.
Slate sucks.
Slate does suck.
NFL tonight.
NFL is here.
Do that dirty.
Dirty time.
Sunday's last.
Yes.
I'm ready.
Yankee game officially postponed.
There you go. Thank you.
Holla.
I just saved 20% games.
That's it, baby. You just did. Holla. Like to hear that. So Yankee game's canceled. No Cole. No Yankee stacks. Forget about that. Never happened. Don't know who you heard it from, but he must have been smoking some serious crack at the time. With that said, for Paulie D, for myself, the entire Wise Take Nation, as always, good luck.
Yeah.